What's the vibe like in Harlem?
Like, well, like this is like the 11th day, 11th or 12th straight day of straight protesting. Um, every day, like at night, there's an announcement for the next day, where we're gonna start at, and at what time and location and stuff. So it's been the last like today they uplifted the curfew. We had a curfew at 8 o'clock today. The last day was supposed to be, they got rid of it because there's been a lot of peaceful protesting going on in the past 2 days, 2 3 days. We haven't had any. So it's
No
just
incidents.
yeah. Now no incidents, a lot, none of that stuff. The looting is going on, but that kind of stopped. Now it's like I think people starting to come more together and starting to be like, yo, listen, if we really just protest, things will change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But now here's my question. Like, so here's the thing. People, me and Rob we were talking about this, and I actually want to give you the floor for you to kind of go into it because you know my perspective, and for me, like I said, protesting is protested, but what is the goal? So does that mean that this protest is gonna go on until the change fully happens? Is this gonna go on for a week more? Is it gonna go on for 6 months more? Are black people and anyone else considered as a minority gonna just say, you know what, I refuse to go to work, I refuse to feed into the system if it's not gonna respect me? And then what you have that is Whole Foods can't move, Target can't move. I mean, nobody can move. Who's gonna drive the buses? Who's gonna drive business forward? Period. You know what I'm saying? You can be up in the executive office, but if you don't got people working for you, you're in a house of cards, basically. So that's what I want to know. I want to hear from the people. Like, what is this? What is the solution? Because I don't think it's Parliament. I don't think so. Because Parliament is structured on the unfairness of so what they call African Americans, which are just Americans anyway, like the 13th Amendment, so like Josie was saying, which is a great point, like we got to create our own piece of parliament and say this is from us and this needs to be ordained as law, as truth, for protection of us, because of the fact that this prior constitution was not effective in that. You understand what I'm saying? So, and people had enough.
It's like people. It's just like we all people, right? Like we all people, we all humans. It's like it just comes to the problem is that some people don't like to be around certain people. They look a certain kind of way, yo. You know, like
That's
honestly, like you can't. It's like if that's the case, then you're gonna have to move people to where they want to be, where they can be together. Like, yo, like that's all it is. Like, yo, if this have to be, nobody's saying that I want segregation. You know what I'm saying? But like, yo, people don't get along. There's a guy who's jogging, doing his exercise, and a guy comes and shoot him, because that tells you that they just don't want to see that around where they live. Where then give the people that don't have nothing, give them somewhere to live and to stay, and everybody could be kind of happy.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's
You can't force people to be around people together. Like you can't force people. They start fighting against each other. That's where you need a referee and stuff in between so they can mediate.
Jesus, man.
So I don't know, bro. But I know one thing for sure. I do know that people are not getting along. Maybe later on, maybe little by little we can work our way up there. You know what I'm saying? But also there's a generational problem also going on, where the ones that came from a generation before they've been hockey programmed more into more racism, and then now things are changing, and those people are still programmed that way, and they fighting back. So
They're fighting the change.
fighting the change,
yeah.
Get exposed a little bit too, and it's not looking too good, because it's like, yo, you look bitter, you look a little bit more bitter, because you got everything that you need. This person is not trying to rob you or fighting with you, calling you names, and you still start in trouble. So You know,
we live in a different country right now, I think.
Yeah, these times are a little bit strange, man. It sometimes it breaks my heart just to see that people can't even get along like that. You know, there's just so much violence. I'm all for humanity. You know, I try to do as much as I can. You know, try to bring people together. Try to do something good each and every day. You know, I'm always pushing in that way. You know, I don't know how to say, like, where I'm from, we come from a very large blended family, so it was very natural just to everybody just be everybody. That was back in my hometown of Henderson. Now in Las Vegas, yeah, it was that old mentality. It's that older generation because, you know, you have these other cities around, and it's like you have to wait for that generation to like move out, you know, but stop them, you know, like educating their children, you know, in their beliefs, because, you know, times are moving and we're all coming together and we're trying to come together and trying to push this, you know, and I just don't understand why there's such a negative outlook on this when we're just keep moving and trying to stay together, you know. I mean, where do you think it all starts from? To me, I think it all starts from private prisons. That's one of the things. You know, you got these private prisons where they have to have a certain percentage of a capacity. So if they don't, the local government has to pay like a fine or something to them if they're not keeping it at that capacity. That's hard to like think about, and that's why we have such a huge populated prisons in the world. I mean, you privatized everything. Everything is out of greed as well. And nobody's looking at each other. You know, they look at each other, you know, by face value and not by like their soul.
Yes. I mean, like the protest that's been going on, there's been every single race in those protests, brother. There's been every single, it's not just one race that is protesting.
Oh, I know.
There's everybody out there. You got Asians, you have white, you have Latinos, you have black, you have, every mother and their father is out there. So it looks like back in the day, I think there wasn't enough traction because of...
Bro, that is just proof that we're just a human race. That's it. That's it. That's it. When you have that melange, and they're all coming together, what does that tell you? We're all the same. It's all the same. It's a human race. That's it.
Right. You
just got some people who don't want to get off that. They don't want to get off that high horse. They don't want to be considered equal. You understand? Because it's like an egotistical like power thing. Because number one, they can't just admit that this country, the way it was built, it was a good idea, but they did it the wrong way, okay? By oppressing someone to get to that goal, as opposed to working together to get to that goal. So until they admit that enslaving these people and having them do this labor for 400 years and not compensating them at all, that's the root of the problem, because that's where it all started. And then years went by and things happened, like Rodney King, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther, and then you got this George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. But George Floyd was like, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, because that was just the complete disrespect of broad daylight. Like, I have no consideration for your existence, you know? Like, I'm gonna put my knee on your neck and I'm gonna put my hand in my pocket while I'm looking at the camera, straight faced, you know? And it's just, imagine yourself being in that situation, man. That's like such a disgraceful death.
I mean, we saw murder on camera. Like that was first degree.
Absolutely, 100%. Public execution.
So how can we respect murder now if you let him get away? We can't leave people that get away with murder. So now it's making people be like, well, I'm gonna commit murder too, because that, that's setting a bad example right there for everybody to do. You can't get away with murder. So,
But you got to understand that these guys are charged; they're not convicted. Things can change, and
There
that's
should be no trial.
Yeah, it happened in 1992. The
There's
officers
no
were
trial.
charged.
There's
and
video
then
evidence.
They were acquitted, so they were never convicted. So everybody's hoorahing right now because people are getting charged, but wait for the convictions to come through. That's where it is.
That's what you go crazy about.
Yeah, and that's how L.A. was on fire after that conviction where all of them got acquitted.
The Ronnie King,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, Rodney King. Yeah, I was 13 at that time, in 1992.
92.
Yeah,
I was
it got
4.
so bad. I mean, even my parents were like, "Yeah, don't go to school, this week." It was getting bad out there, It was like because we lived close to LA. We were in Las Vegas, so it's only a couple hours, and it's like when something happens when it's close, it feeds into like Arizona, Las Vegas, just surrounding big cities, metropolitan cities, and I seen it where everybody stands together, but seeing the cities on fire, that was a different thing. And just as what's going on now, the peaceful protests, I went out there last Sunday. Last Sunday, I was in the area in Bayside because they said Bayside got looted and everything else. I parked right there on the Sunday night, grabbed my camera gear. I just wanted to see what's happening, because I saw the police with the riot gear lined up right then and there. And it's posted online too, on one of my accounts. And here comes the protesters coming from one street. They just walked all the way through. And as they walked through, there was cop cars coming the other way, zooming down the street. It was like more of an intimidation act, That's what I was seeing the whole time. And but nothing was being thrown, nothing was bad. But I left early in the night, but you could tell they were just walking through. They're just going down the street, doing a peaceful protest, and then all of a sudden you got a curfew. Things ain't right. I don't think that's right to set a curfew, for doing something that is in our right to do. I think that's wrong. And it's
I agree with you.
Trying to punish everybody. It's intimidation. That's what it is. The government is trying to say, hey, look, I can do whatever I want.
To switch up the beaches from being open to being closed.
Yeah.
That was nuts. What does the beach have to do with protesting,
Yeah.
or rioting? So, but hopefully, we're going to come out of this thing much better. I think we'll have